are gathered, or should I say regathering today to talk about Babylon 5, which Mint Condition brought all of us in this podcast together. But Babylon 5 was something that also brought all of us together. We have a long history that we could talk about with Babylon 5 that hopefully we will get to in this episode. But beyond that, at the time of this recording, a few weeks ago, JMS announced that he is rebooting Babylon 5 and he is going to be show running it. And he is currently in the process of writing the pilot. It is going to be on CW. And as far as we know, other than that, we have John Sheridan returning as a character. We don't know what else is going on. So I thought to kick us off today, since we were all kind of chatting about it offline, let's go around and just get everyone's reactions to the news of the reboot. I'm gonna turn it over to our guests first. So, Josh, why don't you give us your first impressions about the news of the reboot?
Yeah, of course. Just really quick, I don't know that it's confirmed that John Sheridan is returning as a character. The announcement sort of had a log line for what B5 is about, and it mentioned John Sheridan as the main character. I don't know that that means that character is being recast and returning. But that's something that we can get into a little bit later. My initial reaction was kind of shock, frankly. And I'm not going to lie, I had some mixed feelings about it just because, like you were saying, James, I think for a lot of us, I know certainly for myself, the original series of Babylon 5, which is a strange thing to say, but the original was very formative to me. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that, I really internalized a lot of the philosophy and morality and even politics. A lot of what the original show was infused with, it really left a big impact on me at that, tender age. 93, 94 to 98 was 10 to 14, 15 years old. So it certainly left quite an impression. And yeah, the idea of rebooting that show left me a little uncertain. JMS has subsequently said online that, he's sort of approaching it as kind of a reimagining in the vein of the new Battlestar Galactica and its relationship to the original, where it's not a straight up storyline for storyline by the numbers remake. It's sort of more getting into the DNA of the original show and using that as a launching pad for a new exploration of those same themes, but one that reflects modern concerns and sensibilities. And so, that said, if he has an idea that he's excited about, and I believe that he does, because I don't think he would agree to do something that he didn't think he could have his heart fully in. I'm really curious, and I have gotten excited. I've gotten very excited about it, and that's what I will say about that.
That sounds good. So, John, let's get your impressions of it.
So I actually remember talking to Josh about it, within a day or two of the news. And similarly, I went through sort of an entire emotional journey, an arc of my own. Initially, it was just sort of disbelief because I couldn't imagine it being real, like a headline like that. And then sort of that typical fanboy reaction of, don't mess with what's already there. And that probably lasted a few hours, maybe a whole day. And then next up, all of a sudden it switched. I started remembering various passages from JMS autobiography, Becoming Superman, which I recommend to everybody who's a Babylon 5 fan, even though it only covers only a chapter or two specifically on Babylon 5. But you see his journey as a person, as a writer. And for me, what he talked about Babylon 5 and how they basically gave this wet behind the ears writer with no production experience the keys to the kingdom as an executive producer, writer, and showrunner. And that now he's coming back, decades later with years of experience. I don't know. Something just has said to me, there's going to be something here. He's going to be able to do something in a way that he didn't have the ability to before. And when you do read his autobiography, you realize the stories that are in this man with this incredibly complex life full of its own crazy stories, that I really think there's going to be something new and magical here. And I don't have any idea what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be the Babylon 5 that we grew up with. And repeating what Josh said, this was a show that was so formative to me. The first sci-fi show that I think I saw with a story arc continuing that just built and gave me excitement every week for some mystery that was unfolding that I couldn't predict, that I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was super excited to be along for the ride. And that's the same feeling I have right now. Um, little bit of caution, obviously, because it's a new show and it's the CW network, so we don't know how they're gonna, you know, involve themselves in that. But yeah, I'm just super excited now.
Well, that's great. Chris, what are your impressions or thoughts?
Sure. I think my reaction was much less complex because I wasn't as invested in B5. It wasn't, as an artist, it didn't inform a lot of my artistic choices, sensibilities, that sort of thing. um, I, as John said, I think everybody absolutely has to read Becoming Superman. I think it's really terrific and offers a lot of insight into his life, into his creativity, and a lot of other things too. But so the reason I say all of that is because I really respect the man as a creator and as an artist. Um, I am personally of I don't want to say the belief because that makes it sound a little too heavy. I'm very much one of those people who likes an ending to a story. I've talked about this a couple of times now. It's one of the reasons I've really pulled back from comic books is that so many of them don't actually end; they just keep going. It's one of the reasons I'm such a huge fan of The Expanse is because it ends. It was always planned to end. It's going to end in book 9 and season 6, coming November, December, respectively. So I like that stories end. I'm good with Babylon 5 being done. Um, I don't I don't really miss it, I guess. I'm happy with it the way it is. Um, but if he feels he has more story to tell, then I respect that. I'm sure he'll do really good work with it. I'm not particularly interested, not because I don't think it will be good, but because I had sort of already closed the in my brain, I had sort of already closed the book on those stories. I sort of felt the same way about Harry Potter. All the issues that I have with the multitude, the literal multitude of issues I have with J.K. Rowling aside, and how I don't purchase anything that she's created because I don't want to I don't want to give her my money, frankly. Um, the Harry Potter books ended up meaning a lot to me, and I love the Harry Potter books. I did not need the play. I ended up reading the play because it's out there and I had a copy, so why not? I didn't like it, but I also didn't need it from the get go because that story had ended. I missed the characters, and I thought I wanted more. But that's I think the difference between me as a kid, a teenager, even as a young adult, me now is that I used to because I wanted more, that meant I needed more. I don't feel that way anymore. I'm going to miss the expanse when it's gone, but I'm also certain I will be done with it and I will not want more expanse because I'm good with an end of the story. So um I think it's a bit odd that he's revisiting, but I agree with John and Josh. I think there's a lot that he probably wanted to do with the series that he wasn't able to do. I think CW is an extremely odd choice, and it's possible that the only reason that he's on CW is because that's where he was able to make the only way he could make the deals. If you read the book, you would know that he's extremely protective of his property, and he is a man with a lot of integrity. And so it makes sense to me that yeah, I don't have a problem with him doing it. It's just that I don't feel the need to revisit that universe, those stories. And in my mind, it's kind of like, okay, I don't have a problem with you doing that. This is not at all accurate. This is completely projection, just me. And I'll be the first to admit that. Um, but it feels like we get limited time with our artists, JMS included. And so it feels like because he's going to be spending a lot of time on New Babylon 5, that again, all projection, that robs us of other stories he might have shared with us. And that's not fair to him because he's a person who's not here for our service, right? He's not here to serve us, but that was my initial gut reaction that I recognize as being selfish and not really reasonable. So um will I watch it when it comes out? Yeah, if it's convenient, but I'm just not excited about it. I'm not particularly interested in it. That said, I'm certain it's going to be good. I am. I'm just certain that he's not coming back unless it's something good and strong and new too. I don't think he's going to come back and just rehash stuff, but remaking it, sort of quote remaking an entire series. Yeah, it's just I I'm fine without this.
All right, that's a good. Those are good. Those good impressions. Again, we'll expand upon that. And Joe, What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm more in line with what Chris just said. I'm from the generation of it's not broke, don't fix it. So I'm a little shocked that this is coming back. I have no, this is what I'm looking for here. I should say I completely have complete faith in JMS to tell this story again the way he sees, the way he wants to. I have complete other faith in his creative acumen, but why? And the bigger why is why on the CW? I mean, this is a network that caters to 16-year-old TikTok teeny boppers, and I don't get it. I mean, yeah, he may have been given complete control, but will the budget be there? Will he really have control, or will he have to service the quote unquote fans of this network? If that happens, then I think there could be disaster. So I don't think we need this. I'm sure it will be good though. If from the standpoint of the creator, I'm sure it will be good. But I'm worried that the creator, JMS, may not have as much freedom as he thinks, or have the avenues to put his product forth, to put his story forth, because it's on this network. So, I hope they prove me wrong, but I'm not. I don't want to say I'm not looking forward to it, but I don't really need it. So we'll leave it at that.
So my impressions are I'm definitely interested in seeing what it is, and exciting to see what JMS will do with material he's already worked with. You know, reading Becoming Superman, again, I'll plug it too. Great book. I highly recommend it to anyone listening who hasn't read it and is interested in JMS as a creative person reading that book. But having read that book, I didn't realize, like, I've grown up with JMS's storytelling all the way up until now. I grew up with him watching He-Man, then watching The Real Ghostbusters, then watching Babylon 5, and then reading Spider-Man, Rising Stars, Midnight Nation, Thor, and then and reading his Superman run. So I've been reading JMS's work up until and his biography recently. So I kind of just agree with the sentiments of everyone else.